Welcome, tankers! Today we're going to be talking about Murovanka, and more specifically we'll be talking about the Magic Forest, one of the most feared and loathed places in all of World of Tanks, and a location that requires a rather unique style of play, and leads to some very interesting games. Both sides have invisible firing positions from either side of the Magical Forest, so it makes scouting essential. But there's a problem. Anyone getting spotted anywhere inside the forest is usually killed within seconds because there's nowhere to hide, and as I mentioned, there's invisible firing positions from all over. So what do? Actually, this map requires a very unique scouting strategy that I'll get to in a later video. So here I'm in a TD, and we had a scout go through the forest and didn't light anyone up. The entire red team just ignored the forest, and that's usually a very bad thing to do. So here I'm just sitting safely behind cover and picking off the enemy from a distance. And remember your spotting mechanics. Trees more than 15 meters away from you conceal you even when you fire, and in a forest there's trees everywhere, so really I'm in no danger of getting spotted unless one of the enemy tanks gets within maybe about 100 meters perhaps. And you should always be careful anywhere in the forest, the direction towards the road in the middle, there's usually less cover in that direction, so you want to make sure you're covered from the road. Otherwise an enemy tanker can just drive right down the center road and spot almost everyone in the forest. So here we are, pretty safely behind cover. We can shoot with impunity because it's obvious that there's no enemy tanks anywhere near me, so and there's trees all around, so I can fire without getting spotted here and do a fair bit of damage to these guys as they come around the mountain. Now, our team's way down and they're starting to push our cap and they're starting to get close to me, so now what to do? We have to pick them off as they approach, as they start creating a danger for me. And the fact that I didn't get spotted here tells me a couple things. Tells me the enemy still hasn't entered the forest on either side, and there's a lot of cover between me and the tank I just shot. I look and there's no shot at the arty, so let's look for the guy who's going for our cap. Now I've got binocs. I want to stay in the forest, so I remain behind cover, but I want to get close to the edge so that I can see through the trees and spot him first. Now I've been spotted, so I immediately turn my front armor towards where I think the shots are going to be coming from. And the enemy team has arty too, so I'm expecting shots to come in at any second. And I often, after 10 seconds you go invisible again. So I often knock down trees in a direction that I'm not going. So if arty's looking and they see a tree fall in one direction, they'll usually lead and fire a shot maybe 20 meters to the side the tree fell. So I'll often knock them down and then go backwards to throw off arty in case they're looking. Now here we spotted KB in a bad position. I was a bit too close to the edge and he spotted me again. So luckily I managed to aim and fire first, and again turn the front armor towards where you think the enemy shots are going to be coming from. And if they're going to be coming from two sides, you want the front armor angled in between them so that both sides are shooting at your angled front armor. Now once I go invisible again, I change the direction I'm moving. So the enemy's expecting me to be moving towards the 0 line, but here I pull back into the 9 line and get again to the edge of the forest so that I can get binocs up and I can see out of the forest, but they still can't see in without getting rather close to me. So I'm expecting them to come they'll have come around the top of the mountain, so I'm expecting them to come from the north. And surprise, surprise, they came exactly where I was aiming at. And I knew I would get spotted there, so again, zigzag, change direction, beware of all the arty fire, and get your front armor angled towards the enemy as much as possible until you go invisible again. But of course now the enemy's closing in, so every shot is lighting me. Again, I turn away from the PZ3 figuring the TD is the much more dangerous player, even exposing my back to the PZ3, but it worked because he obviously doesn't know what he's doing. Now again, I changed direction really quick, and it works because an arty shell explodes just behind me. And now a game where we were down 6-2 is now one-on-one, a top-tier, decently armored TD versus an arty. And unless arty gets really lucky, it's not much of a contest. So I just go straight out looking for him. Try and stay in the forest as much as possible for cover, but I figure I'll spot him first and I'll be able to fire long before he aims at me. I'll probably be able to get a couple shots off before he aims at me. And we win a very close game that we were losing the entire game.